All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Mystical Rebel channel. We're just going to dive right in. Someone sent me this video, a friend of mine. They said I should do a reaction to Candace Owens. And I was like, I know she somewhat talks about the occult, but it's normally just political stuff. And you guys know I don't get political here on my channel. And he was like, no, she has a whole episode on like her just coming at the occult. It's all BS. It's all conspiracy nonsense. You got to debunk it. So I said, send it to me. He sent it to me. I watched maybe 18, 19 minutes of it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to have to like, I'm like the rest of the video, I'm going to have to just react to blind. And we gotta just dive right in. This video is already, I mean, her video is an hour and 9 minutes. So you already know this is going to be a 2 hour plus video. So I apologize in advance. We're going to dive right in. This is Candace Owens's one of her latest videos. This came out 2 days ago, streamed 2 days ago, at least as of this recording. Today is March 12th, 2026. So as of this recording, it was 2 days ago. You may be watching this 6 months from now, a year from now, whatever. But as of me recording my video, this was put out 2 days ago. Donald Trump has betrayed America, which of course we're not going to talk about any of that. We don't talk about politics or social justice or anything like that on this channel. We stick to debunking occult nonsense when it comes to conspiracy theories, paranormal, and new age. We don't really focus on anything else. So any political aspects of this video, we're not going to focus on. It's just going to be the occult stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive right in. Candace Owens is episode 308. Donald Trump has betrayed America. But from what it seems like, it's pretty much, at least so far, the first 20 minutes is all about the occult. So that's what we're going to react to. So let's just dive right in. Let's not waste any more time. What is that? Top chat replay. What is that? Get out of here. All right. Here we go.
All right, you guys, happy Monday. Just going to pause our Bride of Charlie series just for one day because there's just so much going on right now. Iran is literally on fire. Bill Ackman wants me imprisoned, apparently, for suggesting that American sons and daughters should object to being slaughtered for Israel. Why so triggered? Perhaps because this entire war has been engineered by Israel. Maybe it's that. Donald Trump has very clearly betrayed the American people. You need to accept that. I've had to accept that. He is very clearly not the commander of the armed forces. Bibi Netanyahu is. Miriam Adelson is. And I believe that Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war in Iran. And it's also my belief that he was intentionally sacrificed by those who...
Are there timestamps on this? Because it looks like there's timestamps, and I don't want to... Let's see. Tucker Carlson tweets about spells and the internet loses its mind. TPASA raises Trump. Okay, so I guess the first 20 minutes is what... Okay, so luckily, that's all I literally watched up to about 18, 19 minutes, and I was like, all right, I have to react to this. So maybe this won't be a 2-hour video, because we probably won't be going past 18 minutes and 22 seconds. We're going to focus only on the occult stuff. So, okay, good. All right, perfect. So we can go ahead and continue.
Who practice occult worship. I'm going to explain to you guys what I mean by that.
Wait. I must have missed something. Who practices occult worship? Where are we? We're at 53 seconds. Okay, so let's go back to 40 seconds. Let's see what you're talking about.
Was the first casualty of the war in Iran. And it's also my belief that he was intentionally sacrificed by those who practice occult worship. I'm going to explain to you guys what I mean by that.
Yeah, you need to. And also, why would occultists need to sacrifice Charlie Kirk? I thought it's always family members, like close friends, right? Like, doesn't every celebrity have to sacrifice like a family member or a friend, even though we don't know who, like Denzel Washington, probably the most accomplished black actor of our generation, right? Who did he sacrifice, right? Forrest Whitaker, who was sacrificing his... They all have their full families around them, all their friends, blah, blah, blah. But whatever, everyone needs to sacrifice. Everyone needs to offer somebody up, family member, friend, blah, blah, blah. These occult actors that you're saying, and not actors as in Hollywood actors as in people who are performing things. Are they friends or related to Charlie Kirk? Or is this some other type of sacrifice that is another conspiracy that doesn't have any validity to it? But also, Why is there no cohesion with you guys, right? I thought it was celebrities and anyone, you got to give a family member or a very close friend, right? Why? Maybe you could say Erica Kirk would have offered up Charlie under that conspiracy thing, but these other Netanyahu, why would he have done that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. So yes, you need to explain what you mean by Charlie Kirk was sacrificed for these occult purposes and all that, please.
Beyond that, it is completely obvious to anyone that is paying attention that Erica's desire was to become the president one day. So let's talk about all of it. Welcome back.
I would say maybe she wants to be like known and famous and in the spotlight, but to say she wants to become president is a little, where are you getting that?
Back to Candace.
I will give it to, I do like her opening. I'm not gonna lie. That's a cute little opening. I do like her.
Tucker Carlson, he is trending.
But other than that, you're a grifter and a goddamn liar. But that's a nice opening. Wow, how cute.
Right now, by the way, he's trending always. What he is doing right now is so remarkable and so brave, and he is challenging the conversation, changing our understanding about the way politics works. I mean, he's just been so objectively honest and, again, brave in what he is doing. But he's trending right now for a rather obscure reason. It was actually a simple tweet that has a lot of his routine haters melting down. This is the tweet. I'll show you that. He wrote, "Pray that the spell breaks and the world is saved." That's all he wrote. Of course, we should pray. But what is triggering them about that? I think I know. I think it's the term, a spell. Yeah, a spell. Because a spell implies some sort of witchcraft or magic.
See, that's the problem with those types of tweets. When you just leave things open and ambiguous, I pray that the spell is broken and the world is saved. It's no different than like, I mean, maybe women got this too, but for any older men, you know, like millennials and older out there, maybe when you were younger and you were dating a young lady or even a young man if you're gay or whatever, and your parents were accepting of that, and they didn't like the person that you were dating, right? Usually the older generation, like your grandmother or something like that, they might say like something along the lines like I don't know what spell this girl got you under. They don't actually mean that they believe that the girl that you're dating or the guy that you're dating or whatever is a witch or a magician and they have you under a spell, a literal spell. It's a figure of speech. It's a turn of phrase. It is a colloquialism that people use to mean someone has a lot of influence over you, and we, because we're not in your relationship, we don't know why. Right? We don't know why this person has all this influence over you. So it seems magical. It's a metaphor. 9 times out of 10, that's what people mean when they say stuff like that. And I'm willing to bet that that's exactly what Tucker Carlson meant. Not that there was a literal spell cast on the world, but that there are forces, whether you believe they're spiritual or not, that have major influence over the world. And it seems otherworldly, it seems magical, so we call it, because we're not part of it, so we don't know how it works, we don't know the underlying mechanics of it, so it seems magical. That's called a metaphor, Candace. And I'm quite certain that's what Tucker meant. Not literal magic. But perhaps he did. He has talked about magic in the occult in the recent past. So maybe he does mean that. But even if he does mean that, well, we'll wait for that for later in the video.
Logic is at work. And the timing of this tweet really is something, because I have had it on my heart and on my mind all weekend to find the right words to convey to my audience that what is going on in this world is literally and exactly that. People that practice occult magic are in this moment pushing for World War III. And I think that's hard.
No, we are not, guys. And here's how you can easily prove this. Anyone who believes I know 10 seconds of your time is too much, but you can easily prove Candace wrong. You don't got to read any books. You don't got to go and study under some witch for 10 years. Pick your 3 favorite social media platforms. Your 3 favorite. Whether that's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whether it's Facebook, Rumble, Kick, Twitch, whatever your favorite 3 social media platforms are. Your 3 favorite. Pick them. And go on there and just look up random occult videos. Look up the hashtag witchcraft, hashtag occultism, hashtag divination, things like that. Look up those keywords on those platforms and see how many occultists are talking about the war in a promotional way. As in they're all for it. Yes, this is good, blah, blah, blah. Do your own research for real. Go to the actual occultist. This is what Candace doesn't want you to do. She wants you to keep coming to her and any other conspiracy theorists. They want you to use them as the source. Stop using non-occultists as your cult source. You would not like it if I went to a Buddhist and asked them about Christianity. If I was like, hey guys, let's watch this video of this Buddhist monk in Tibet talk about the Bible. Even if he has relevant points and all that other stuff, you're going to be like, I don't care what someone who's not a Christian has to say about Christianity. They probably cannot teach me anything about Christianity that I don't already know. That logic should follow for pretty much anything else, including the occult. Why are you listening to a farmer about brain surgery? You wouldn't. You'd go to the brain surgeon. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Go to the source. Go to the occult community itself and see what they're talking about. You're scared, you might get cursed. Put on the full armor of God. Right? Your faith is your shield and the Bible is your sword, right? Put on the full armor of God. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, right? So you should have no fear of just searching up occult hashtag videos on social media. Unless you actually don't believe in the things that you say that you believe in and you actually are scared for whatever reason.
For a lot of people to process, because we grow up and we learn that there are in effect really 3 major monotheistic religions in the West. So the idea that actually there are people that are in charge of Western governments that are in essence really pagan and could be making literal blood sacrifices to various demons, that kind of evades us. It evades our understanding of the world. Because
based on what evidence are you getting that they're doing this? What evidence is showing that they're doing blood sacrifices? This doesn't make any sense. You're just making claims and providing evidence for none of them.
As we look at Hollywood, we look at culture.
That's like me saying Christians believe in eating your children. Christians believe that if your children die prematurely, you got to eat them. And then you go, well, where does it say that in the Bible? And I just go, it's right there in front of your face. If you don't believe me, you're blind. You're willfully choosing not to see it. You'd say I'm nuts. That's literally what these people are doing. The occultists believe this. They're drinking adrenochrome, but yet they can't show you any occult source, even from the guy that they swear it all comes from. Where does Aleister Crowley say drink adrenochrome? Like, what? Where does Aleister Crowley say to torture a child, to kidnap and torture children, keep them in cages and do MK Ultra mind control experiments? Like, what? It's okay for them to say it, but when I flip the script, when I hold up a mirror and I do exactly what they're doing, I'm crazy. I'm taking it too far. I'm literally just doing what they're doing. It's so ridiculous.
Hollywood in particular has been ever intentional in assisting sort of the implausibility of such a narrative, right? Movies, books that are published, if they delve into the topic of witchcraft and spell casting, it's reserved really for the category of fantasy, right?
I've got a whole bookcase right here and another one over there full of occult books that talk about sorcery, witchcraft, like instructions. both the history from an academic perspective and a practical perspective, and instruction on how to actually do it. It's very real. It's not hidden anymore. I stop with this. It's occult and it means hidden. Yes, that's what it means in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, but the occult is not hidden. You can go on Amazon.com right now. Type in occultism. Type in witchcraft. Type in magic. I don't get it. Why do you people think that this stuff is like it's the 1800s or the 1500s and you got to join some magical lodge and you got to go do this and do that to get this information? You do not. You really don't. It's not hidden. Like, at all. It's publicly available for everyone. Right on Amazon. Right at Barnes & Noble. Right at your local bookstore. It's the craziest thing that people believe this. It's not hidden. It's readily available at your local bookstore. Some of the books that I have might not be readily available. Sure, I'll give you that. Some of the books that I have, you will have to either know the author or the title or the publishing company that it comes from. Yes, some of the books that I do have. But a lot of the books that I have, the vast majority of the books on this shelf and on that shelf are paper. You can see it. It's paperback. They're available right on Amazon. Most of these books are $20 or less on Amazon. 2-day shipping if you got Prime. Hidden where? Hidden where? It's not hidden. You can look for yourself. You can look for yourself. I've got a Google Drive. As you can see, it has 54 gigs of 2 terabytes. 54 gigs of nothing but occult books. Nothing but occult books. Well, there's some non-occult stuff on here, like real estate and investment and all that. But you can see angelology, astrology, African traditional religions and African diasporic religions. That's ATR and ADR. Chaos magic. Christian occultism. You guys don't want to talk about that. Divination, Enochian. These are also occult books, but these are non-PDF. These are EPUBs. So for anyone who actually like reads like books on Kindle, or if you have like another ebook reading app, and it's an actual ebook reading file format. It's not a PDF. It's like you can turn the pages and stuff like that. It's like a real ebook file format. So some of the books that I have are not PDF, they're EPUB, and so they're in this one. The greater community of the esoteric knowledge or whatever. I don't know what to call this folder other than that. General occult studies, Gnostic, Hermetic. This is images for thumbnails and stuff like that. Kabbalah, and Kabbalah, because there's 3 types of Kabbalah, right? There's the Jewish Kabbalah, there's the Hermetic Kabbalah, and there's the Christian Kabbalah. And some would even say there's even the English Kabbalah, right? Masonic, modern occult books, mysticism, New Age, non-occult books. This is stuff for a Patreon. Psionics and radionics, religion and theology, Rosicrucianism, Satanism, shamanism, sigil work, spells and rituals, tradcraft, Western occultism, and regular witchcraft or modern day witchcraft. Right? It's not hidden. It's readily and easily available. Right? Eliphas Levi, the doctrine and ritual of high magic. As soon as it opens. Right? This stuff is not hidden. This stuff is not hidden. This is not hidden. So stop with that. Stop with that nonsense. Let's get back to it.
Fantasy, if they're discussing it, or it's being mocked, hocus pocus, or Harry Potter, really. What sort of crazy person would believe that ancient pagan practices are still happening in the real world? Okay, maybe in some remote third world village in Africa.
Well, for the most part, ancient pagan practices are not happening because most of what was done in ancient times in like full ritual format wasn't written down. We only know from fragments and like little bits and pieces on we don't have a full ritual format for the bulk of like ancient practice. Like for example, we don't know exactly how the ancient Egyptians would have worshipped. We know what they did worship, but we don't know if they waited until noon, then walked around 3 times, and then went to the top of the temple and did a dance, and then sat down and put on the ritual garb and poured the water, and then looked up to the sky and prayed to the moon god. We don't know like the actual process, right? We just know that they did something to the moon at 3 p.m., right? But we don't know exactly what it was because that stuff wasn't written down. So for the most part, ancient pagan practices, if they do exist in a modern context, they're reconstructions. They are revitalizations, I guess you could say, right? But mainly reconstructions. They're taking bits and pieces of what we do know and then mixing it with modern pagan practices to make a full ritual set. Not so it's not so ancient. But she doesn't want you to know that. She wants you to think that they're just pulling this from Babylon. They're pulling this from ancient Greece, ancient Egypt. No, they're not.
But in the developed Western world, at the tippity top of government, you would be mad to even suggest it.
You
Even
are
when
mad.
it's actually in our faces.
It's
Take, for
not.
example, this recent
That's a funny saying that you guys always say. It's right in your face. It's not in our face. It's not. And this next clip that she's about to show you will prove to you just how much witchcraft is not in your face. Right? Let's see.
Paris fashion show collection from a brand known as Materier Fécal. Just so you know, that translates to fecal matter. Wow, must have really been an inspired show. Fecal matter.
So all those images that you just saw, those people with the weird makeup and the weird eyes and the I don't know the money dress and whatever this is, the feather dress. What does any of this have to do with the occult? Can you find a book on Amazon, any occult book, and on any of the PDF websites that you can download books on? Can you find any legitimate occult book that says if you want to be an occultist, you got to wear weird makeup and do I don't know. I don't do makeup, but whatever that line is with the on the sides of the that whisk or whatever they do, you got to do that, and you got to put a ball gag in your mouth. Where does it say that? What does any of that stuff have to do with the occult? What does any of that stuff have to do with the devil or witchcraft? That makes no sense. A feather dress is occult? Stop. What does this have to do with the occult? Nothing. Just because you don't like it, Candace, and just because you don't like it, conspiracy theorists, just because you don't like it, conservatives, doesn't make it demonic or occultic. That doesn't make any sense. It's weird fashion for sure. It's not a cult. That makes no sense.
Wow, no, so in your face, but don't you take it the next step further and think that
Oh, cover your eyes with a dollar bill, you witch. What? Oh, put on some weird, whatever that is, cat makeup or something, and black your teeth because the devil said so. Show me where. Where is this instructed? What are you talking about?
that, these people could be into some dark stuff that would make you, again, a crazy.
I've got some pretty diabolical books right here. I've got some pretty, you know what? I'll just bring them all out right now. I've got some pretty diabolical books right here. Some evil, evil shit right here. And the reason I'm showing you is so you can go and do your own research for real. Not just take Candace's word or even my word. If I show you the book, show you the title, show you the author, you can go do your own research. How evil does this look? That looks diabolical, right? How evil does this look? It's diabolical, right? This big, thick book. This is the Altar of Cain. Cain is the occult spelling of Cain in the Bible, the first murderer, the first unaliver. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but whatever. I'll just say it. The first murderer, Cain, C-A-I-N. Well, the Q-A-Y-N, and I've also seen other spellings, is the occult spelling of that. So this is the Altar of Cain, right? By Mark Allen Smith. Mark Allen Smith. Or if you can't read that, the title page, The Altar of Cain, the Book of Resurrection, the second volume of the Ars Diaboli by Mark Allen Smith. Find me in this book. It's about the first murderer. It's about magic. Find me in this book where it tells you to go murder someone, to go kidnap someone. And I'm giving you the title. Someone has to have the balls. Someone has to really believe that your God is super powerful enough to protect you from whatever's in this book, to either buy the book or find a PDF and do the research. Find where any illegal, immoral requests are made. And then after you're done that, find where any of this stuff, any of this fashion, fecal matter, where is that in here? I need you to find it for me. Okay? I need you to find it for me. I'm going to need you to do the same thing with this next book. This is called The Altar of Sacrifice. So you know it's got to be in here. It's got to be in here, right? This is one of the sacrificial seals. There's nothing on the back of this one. One of the sacrificial seals. So you know it's got to be in this one. Same author, Mark Allen Smith, right? The Altar of Sacrifice. First volume of The Way of Sacrifice, Mark Allen Smith. Find this one and find where any of this stuff, black your teeth out, put a dollar bill over your eyes. That's witchcraft. Ooh, you're so magical. You got a dollar bill on your face. Ooh, witchy. What? When you're done with that, do it with this. How does that look? Look at that. Upside down pentagram right there. In between the devil horns. Oh my gosh. So evil, so demonic, right? This one is called The Crown Prince of the Sabbath, the Ars Diaboli. Please, find this book and find any of this stuff in this book. Or any legitimate occult text, right? This one just looks evil, but it's not, because it's got a skull on it. This is Eshu and the Kimbanda of Night and Fire by Nicolás de Matos Friswold, right? Eshu. And then its full title is, it's really, really tiny, but Eshu and the Kimbanda of Night and Fire. Find this book. Another thick one. Where is any of this? Oh, wear a feather dress and wear money on your dress and put cat whiskers on your eye or whatever that is, and that'll make you a witch. Wear an oversized trench coat. All the witches are doing it. Your sleeves got to come over your hands or you're not a real witch. What? So because it's weird, it's magical, it's witchcraft, stop.
Crazy person. What about the much celebrated visual artist to the stars, the Serbian one? She's also an artist to the politicians. She does spirit cooking. Literally, that was what was in those emails.
Yeah.
Marina Abramovic. She puts on
Yeah.
performances in front of the most powerful.
Please. Especially the sacrifice book. Where does it say to do any of this? I'm going to need people to find me where it says, make sure if you want to be a witch, you got to take the skull of a, which this is just a prop, but you guys believe it's real, but okay. So you got to take the skull of a ram or something, whatever, an ibis or something. I mean, not an ibis. What's that? Other type of, it's like a gazelle, but it starts with an I. I forget what it's called. The ibis is a bird, but it starts with an I. And hold it by the horns while you're wearing red. And you have to look seriously at the camera, or else you're not a real witch. You can't be a real Satanist unless you do this. What is witchcraft about? I don't. This doesn't make any sense. What makes this witchcraft? Because it's a skull? So skulls don't inherently mean witchcraft. So sorry to break it to you. I don't understand what makes any of this witchcraft, and none of you can articulate it to me in a reasonable and logical manner.
People in the world. Performances like in 1974, when she sought to, quote, re evoke the energy of extreme bodily pain using a large petroleum drenched pentagram, which the artist lit on fire at the start of the performance. Standing outside of the pentagram, Abramovic cut her nails, her toenails, and her hair. When she finished with each, she threw the clippings into the flames, creating a burst of light each time, burning the pentagram, representing a physical and mental purification.
So, good thing. She didn't throw a baby in there. She didn't try to curse someone. She was trying to purify herself of something. Some sort of an ailment or some sort of an issue or whatever. Blockage she may have, whatever. Why is that bad? Where's the demon in that story? She cut her hair and she cut her toenails. Great. So evil. Threw it in the pentagram. Devil where? Demon where? Curse, hex, sacrifice where?
Oh, that's just art, guys. That's just art. Don't you think a step further? No, come on, that's just art. And on the matter of science, even
Even
when
if it
it's
is witchcraft, what makes it evil?
in our faces, like when the world's leading nuclear physicists are caught, cloaked before a statue of Shiva, stabbing a woman in an occult ceremony for CERN, well, you guys, that's just science.
What? Oh, I was
So
about to.
that right there that you are looking at on your screens was science, the best science, the best that science has to offer, the most ingenious people. And
Oh,
indeed, I would agree that it is
okay, I know. Because
modern
at first I was
science.
like,
In
what video? I
fact,
was gonna say,
the
what video is she
entire
talking about? But
thrust
now
of
I
what
didn't.
was deemed the
It's so funny.
scientific revolution, a move away from the natural order of things and towards empiricism, rationality, that began because of a long organized Freemasonic effort to remove humanity from our innate spiritual understanding. Okay. They wanted you to know that you can now ignore your God given instincts. You can set aside your subconscious, that subconscious that comes online and lets you know that something is not right. Yeah, you can just set that aside and trust.
Show me what occult text says that. Any Freemasonic text, show me where it says that you put aside your instincts and the things that help you recognize that there's danger and all that. Set that aside and just let whatever else happen or whatever. Show me that, right? You said Freemasonic, right? Well, we've got several Masonic books here, right? Symbolism of Freemasonry or Mystic Masonry, Introduction to Freemasonry. What's this? Freemason, what? What is this called? Main Masonic textbook for use of lodges originally drawn, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we got this. We've got The Magical Mason by R.A. Gilbert, fantastic author. I don't want your free trial. I was already reading this. That's why it's all the way down here. But let me just make sure. Okay, page 57. All right. The Magical Mason, Forgotten Hermetic Writings of William Wynne Westcott. You guys have no idea who that is because everyone only focuses on Crowley, maybe Manly P. Hall, maybe Blavatsky, maybe Eliphas Levi, maybe Alice Bailey. That's it, right? You got your 4 or 5 conspiracy figures within the occult, and then that's all you guys focus on. You have no idea who William Wynne Westcott is. You have no idea, right? Roots of the Golden Dawn. You may have heard that through Candace. Where would it say any of that stuff in any of these Masonic books? Please tell us. We've got The Sorcerer and His Apprentice, also by R.A. Gilbert. Global Freemasonry. Gould's History of Freemasonry. The Lost Keys of Masonry. The Legend of Hiram Abiff. Hand of the Freemason. The Beginnings of Masonry. The Journal of Western Mysteries. The Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. I've got 2 or 3 versions of that. I don't know why. What's this? The Symbolism of Freemasonry, the Masonic Manual. Come on. Where in any of these Masonic books or any other Masonic book would any of this stuff be written? See, Candace doesn't want you to know about those books or know about the books that I showed you or about any of these other books out here. She doesn't want you to know that these things are readily available for you to go and do your own research. Oh, I'll never why would I want the devil? Put on the full armor. If you really believe that your God can overcome all this stuff, you should not be fearing it, especially if you're not reading the book to practice. You're reading to prove that your religion is the correct one. So there should be no fear, right? The devil is a defeated foe, right? He's already lost, right? So what are you afraid of? Get the damn books and do your own research. But what I think you're afraid of is you're going to actually find out that everything that I'm saying is actually correct and that people like Candace are bullshitting you and grifting. And they have no idea what they're talking about because they're not getting their information from actual occult sources. They're getting it from conspiracy sources. Or they're just making it up. She's not shown you any sources thus far. Just here, watch this clip of this weird fashion show. Come on. Come on.
The experts instead. In fact, the experts constantly reinforce to us that our subconscious is wrong, or it's just weird. And in some cases, it's immoral. It's devilish even. You want to go see your grandmother while she's dying in the middle of COVID? What are you, Satan? You're being guided by Satan. If you don't listen to Dr. Fauci, that's who you're being guided by. Because there's no greater...
That's a cult? I don't understand. The government keeping you away from your family. Where does occultism teach you to do that? Again, what occult source says to dissociate from everyone that you know and all that? That's what you guys do. Christians, you guys do that. Oh, you don't believe the way I believe? We can't be friends. We can't talk. We can't do anything. You're a witch. You're in a blah, blah, blah. Because to a Christian, everyone, if it's not of God, then it's of the devil. So Buddhists who don't even believe in it, they're witches too, according to the Christian belief system, because they're not angels and it's not Jesus and the Holy Spirit and God. So it's only Satan and his angels, the fallen angels. That's the only other option for them. You see how it's looking a little crazy there? Okay. You guys do that. We don't do that. We don't separate people from their families. That doesn't make any sense. Please show me the occult source that says this.
Source of authority in their world than the government, which they control. That's the idea. And I promise you on everything, that when Savannah, my manager, came down the stairs and delivered the news that Charlie had been shot, I went into my husband's office and I cried and I immediately said to him, he was betrayed. Charlie was betrayed. And my husband said back to me, you don't know that. We don't know anything yet. And I said, I know. Now, empirically, that argument fails. I get it. But no one can explain why or how I had the sense of dread in the very week leading up to...
If you know that argument fails empirically in this context, why don't you know that argument fails empirically in anything else you've been saying and providing no evidence of?
Charlie's assassination. No one can offer why I knew that there was danger coming specifically to a school and why I felt that it was related to bees, why the feeling was so overwhelming that I hired extra security and took my podcast off air and pulled my children out of school. I had never experienced a dread like that in my life.
It was the holidays. Candace, from what you pulled your children. It was the holidays. I don't know any child that's going to school during the holidays. It was the holidays when you went offline for that week. So what are you? Everyone's kids was out of school. Now the more security, I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm not going to ask to see your financial records or whatever. So I mean, there's no way for you to be able to prove that. But like, this is ridiculous. It was the holidays when your podcast went offline for that week. So everyone's kids was out of school, and a lot of podcasts were not doing anything because it was the holidays and people were with their families. And I know you don't believe this, but witches were too. They were with their families. I know you want to believe that we separate people from their families, like you just said, but it was the holidays and everyone was with their families. So, sorry.
Life, ever. No one also can explain or even offer an explanation as to how exactly it is that Charlie knew he was going to die young and that his death would specifically be related to Turning Point USA. He said he knew from the moment he signed on the dotted line.
When did he say that?
That he was going to die young.
Or do we just have to believe
what exactly?
We just have to believe that you and Charlie had this spiritual connection, like you've been saying, when you first started talking about this nonsense. And Charlie would tell me he can astral project and he doesn't feel from this, like he's from this world and he's an alien and all this other BS. You're grifting. You're throwing anything out there, seeing what sticks, and then you're going to run with that. Here we are. That's the insanity of the things that are being said here. Is I can't believe it.
Is the expert explanation for that deep internal knowing that he had that has now been proven correct. I'll tell you, there isn't one.
And you can't prove that he said it. Show the video. It would be very easy just to put the clip right up in the corner. Right up here. It'd be very easy to put a clip right up here with Charlie saying to you or just to the camera or whatever in an interview, whatever. Yeah, I think I'm gonna die young, and yeah, I think it's gonna be in relation to Turning Point USA. Show it. No, we don't have anything. Instead, if you do show something, it'll be photoshopped text message screenshots. Come on.
Sensed was obviously right. And the moment that Charlie was shot, I knew what happened to him was not random. Okay. He was betrayed. Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war in Iran. I'm certain of that. And it's deeper than that. I am now of the opinion that he was likely sacrificed. And I want to tell you why I got there.
Yeah,
you guys know, if you're part of my book club, I've been doing a lot of research into Freemasonry. About a month ago, while we took a break to prepare for our Bride of Charlie series, someone sent me this. I'm showing you, this is what they sent me.
Oh, you took a break? So you took your podcast offline again, but it wasn't a threat. It wasn't anything that time. It was just to prepare for something else. Like, come on.
The mail. Something that is known as a Freemason Bible. Now, I knew that these existed because of my studying Sigmund Freud.
So you'll have that, but you won't get any occult books, any Crowley books, anything like that?
And looking into the fact that he had inherited one from his father. The backstory of this one in particular came with a handwritten letter, is that a 33rd degree Freemason out in Oklahoma died, and all of his belongings were left in a home that was eventually auctioned off. And the person who had this in his possession, his relative was the person who acquired the home. And they went in and they burned everything in it effectively, thinking that it was obviously just carrying bad spirits. But he, for some reason, had the sense that he should keep this one item. For no particular reason, he kept it in the back of his...
So this should be proof, guys. Right there. She just fucked her whole game up right there. Let's use logic here. A lot of you don't want to buy these books or even look at the PDFs because the bad energy that's associated with it. She just said that this book supposedly has bad spirits associated with it, but yet she has it. There's not much else to do in Christianity to get protection other than just to pray. It's not like in the occult where you got to do full rituals, spells, wear amulets and talismans and stuff like that. All you guys got to do is pray, right? Simply pray. Ask God to protect you. Have the angels set their hedges about you. And download a couple PDFs and get your studying going. She's got the book right there. And she just said bad spirits are supposedly associated with this book. But she's got it in the home with her husband and her children. She's got that book. So there is no excuse anymore. Your leader, Candace, has the book with bad spirits associated with it. If it's not affecting her, what are you afraid of? Y'all worship the same God, right? Simply pray and ask God to protect you and do some real research.
Truck for over a decade. And when he saw me covering the history of Freemasonry and what they believe, trying to discern what it is that they believe, he felt that this was the reason that he had kept it all those years. So he just sent it to me to provide me further insight into what they believe and what they practice at the top of Freemasonry. This is not your granddad's Freemason lodge, okay? Oh, my dad was a lodge. It was just no, this is not that. That is not what 33rd degree Freemasonry is. So I flipped through this immediately after we did douse it in holy water. I flipped through it. And within the very first pages...
There you go. That's all you need. Holy water. That's all you need. Holy water.
There was a pentagram with various illustrations inside of it, notes around it. I'm going to show you that now. We just took a picture for you to see it. There at the bottom. And in case you can't see what is pointing to the middle, it says place of sacrifice or worship. Okay? Place of sacrifice or worship in the middle there.
So first of all, that doesn't look old. Not the page, I'm talking about the writing, right? Ink fades over time and stuff like that. That doesn't look old. That looks like someone wrote that in there, like within the last few days. You got that book and you or your husband or your assistant or someone whose handwriting that maybe we haven't seen wrote that. That's not old. That's not from, the 70s or the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s or even 5-10 years ago. That's recent. The ink fades over time. That's not faded at all. Right? I've got books that I've had since I was 15. Pages are discolored and I keep them on the shelf. I dust my shelf. I keep it. Now, I mean, I'm not a librarian, so I don't have them in cases and all this other stuff. So yeah, they're still open to the environment, but as clean as and as upkept as I keep my books, they have discoloration. They fade. Pages bend and all this other stuff. That ink is not faded. Someone wrote that recently. Guys, her audience just looks at this and goes, "Wow, looks, the Freemasons wrote that." How do you know that? It's in the book. So Candace doesn't have pens at her house, at her office, at her studio, wherever she does. There's pens just don't exist in the world. Like, what?
I want you to note that in this Freemason Bible, it illustrates that a sacrifice must be made in the center of a pentagon. That's a
Show that. What? So why'd you show that little? But I just want you guys to know that in this book it says this. Just as easy as it was for you to take a picture of the opening page, it would have been just as easy for you to take a picture of the page that says whatever you're claiming it says. But you know that it doesn't say that. And you know that your audience isn't going to go, let me go to Google, type in Freemason Bible PDF, enter, download one. When it opens, hit Control F and search for the word sacrifice and see what comes up. It'll take you less than 5 minutes of your day, but that's too much time. And so she knows her audience is not going to do it. They're not going to look for themselves. It would have been very easy for you just to show us.
Pentagon, 5 sides, like a house. And I thought, how curious that Charlie was indeed seated in the center of a pentagon when he was killed. Let me demonstrate that.
Why wasn't Whitney Houston in the center of a pentagon? Why wasn't Michael Jackson in the center of a pentagon? Why wasn't Prince in the center of a pentagon? Why wasn't Amy Winehouse in the center of a pentagon? Why wasn't Kurt Cobain in the center of a pentagon? Why wasn't David Carradine in the center of a pentagon? Like, they don't ever, like, there's no consistency. If all these celebrities are dying and it's all of them are sacrifices, why aren't they all in pentagrams? Why does Charlie have to be in a pentagram but no one else does? Or a pentagon or a 5-star or a 5-sided whatever. Why only Charlie and why no one else? Why doesn't anyone ask these questions? This is ridiculous.
That for you. You can see that right there.
And that's
again,
not even
it was my
symbol.
independent study into Sigmund Freud that led me to learning about B'nai B'rith, the Jewish Freemason group, who I believe have been running our country since at least the Civil War. I've done my best to consume and learn about what it is that they believe, what they practice. This is occult mysticism, okay? The satanic panic that happened was real. Children are being harmed. They have been harmed in occult ceremonies for a very long.
You can't prove that because the stuff that you're claiming isn't written down anywhere in the occult. Now, you could argue that it's taught verbally, it's oral. Okay, that would make it an oral tradition. Can you name me one, just one oral tradition in history that survived globalization, that survived colonization and the spread of people? One? None. Oral traditions die once people are able to start moving around because of cultural and language differences. So it can't be an oral tradition. It would have to be written down. There is no way that the witches in China can learn properly unless it's written down because of the cultural and language differences. Right? A good example is Greek, for example. Especially if you're theologically driven, you should be well aware of the differences in the words love. In America, or in English, we only have one love. It's just love. And it's through the context of the words before it and after it that you get what type of love I'm talking about. But in Greek, you have the words for like brotherly love or divine love or like act like love, like I'm in love with you, you know, like I don't know what that's called, like relationship love, amorous love, whatever. There's different words for that. So just writing love it wouldn't translate properly. They would need to know what type of love you're talking about. There's a language difference there. So the occult cannot be an oral tradition, at least not on a global scale. There can be occult traditions themselves that are oral, but they're only practiced in that one region of the world. It doesn't leave that one region. And the only books and stuff you might have on it are like academic. Some professor of anthropology went to that area of the world and like studied with them for 6 months and wrote a book. That's it. You're not going to get any practitioners because it's oral. So this stuff has to be written down, and it is not. Therefore, it's not real. You're just making it up. You're just saying this is what occultists do. No, we don't. Prove it. You can't. Co-parter.
Long time. This is an ancient practice.
It's not.
And this is not to be confused with Judaism in any way. In fact, they rely on you confusing it.
No, you rely on them confusing it. You rely on people using Moloch worship. Because I'll say, no, it's not. And then someone in the comments is going to go, oh, well, what about Moloch worship? They were sacrificing kids, bro. Yeah, those people weren't witches. Just because they were sacrificing kids to their god doesn't make them witches. Like, you can't brand everything that you don't like or everything that goes against your religion as occult and witchcraft. It's not. Sure, people in ancient times were sacrificing their kids to their god. It wasn't because they were witches. It was because they believed that their god was angry at them for the lack of rain or whatever it was. You know, the harvest wasn't growing and all this other stuff. women are infertile for some reason in this region of the world or whatever. And it's because the gods are mad, and so we need to appease them. It's not because, oh, we want to put a curse on my neighbor, so I got to sacrifice my son. Like, what? This is you conspiracy theorists. You don't think. You just believe whatever Candace Owens or Elizabeth April or Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones or whatever these conspiracy theorists and these new agers and these paranormal researchers, whatever they say, you guys just believe. You don't do any of your own research. All they have to do is hold up a piece of paper and go, guys, I've got the evidence right here. That's it. They're not going to open it and go, oh, this is from Factor. This is Factor. They're not going to be like, this is a Factor, John. This is Factor. It's a Factor thing. 165. I'm not going to show my oh, wait, my address isn't on there, right? Okay, yeah. It's a Factor thing. They're not they're just going to hold it and just wave it. Just, guys, I got the evidence right here. The evidence is right here, guys. I read it. Yeah, hold still and open. Oh, that's just regular mail. You just got regular mail. Stop. Let me make sure my address wasn't on here or anything. I don't want to. Okay. All right, cool. Stop. People are ridiculous.
In no shape or form does this have anything to do with any of the monotheistic religions, okay? Judaism is merely a mask that these pagan occultists wear, just like Christianity is one of the masks that they wear. The Star of David, as they term it, is in fact an occult symbol meant to represent King Solomon's ring. There is no way that you can...
That doesn't make any sense. King Solomon doesn't predate the religion that he was part of. That doesn't make any sense. Solomon was Jewish. I don't know if this is not known. I don't know if this is like taboo history or something. King Solomon was Jewish. He was the king of, was it China? He was king of Chinese people? No? He was king of India, wasn't he? King of Indian people? No? King of whatever America would have been called back then? Whatever this land over here would have been termed by those people back then? Whatever that was? Mexico? No? Oh, Israel. The Jewish people. Oh, okay. That's what he was king of. Oh, okay. He was Jewish, so I don't understand how he can predate the religion he was part of. That doesn't make any sense. So therefore, any symbols that he created would be after the symbols of the religion. So that means the religious symbols would have already existed. What are you talking about?
avoid this. There's no way that they can try to rewrite history. It is quite literally known as the Seal of Solomon. I'm going to show you this. This is on Wikipedia. This is that accessible. We can read parts of this together.
So you admit that the occult isn't hidden and that it's accessible? Guys, she keeps giving you reasons to go actually buy these books or at least download PDF copies of them and really do your own research. But you're not listening. If you're a Candace, you're not really hearing that. That stuff's going in one ear and out the other.
Reads, it is often depicted in the shape of either a hexagram or a pentagram. In mystic Jewish lore, the ring is variously described as having been given to Solomon, having given Solomon, the power to command the supernatural. Due to the proverbial wisdom of Solomon, it came to be seen as an amulet or a talisman or a symbol or character in medieval magic and Renaissance magic, occultism, alchemy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is literal witchcraft.
No,
we cannot beat these people.
Witchcraft is not a catch-all term for magic. That's another issue. This is another reason why you should not be getting your occult information from non-occultists. Categories, definitions matter in anything, but especially in the occult. Witchcraft is something very specific. King Solomon is not associated with witchcraft. He's associated with ceremonial magic, Western ceremonial magic, specifically grimoire tradition. But see, she doesn't know anything about that, right? Go around her and just say grimoire tradition. She has no idea what you're talking about. No idea. That's the problem with getting your information from non-occultists, because her sources are just conspiracy sources. Her source is Wikipedia. Like this is what I'm telling you. Like, look, she's not going to any occult sources. She's going to Wikipedia.
And we cannot win if we refuse to even recognize what it is that we are up.
Although in this video, she does go to an occult source, but it's, well, we'll talk about it when we get to that part.
Up against. We have to recognize what it is and who it is that we are up.
Well, she doesn't go to the source because I'm confident she didn't read it, right? Because she showed, like, unlike the Masonic Bible that she physically has, she only showed a screenshot of this book. So she didn't read it. She didn't thumb through it. She didn't. So, you know, but.
Against. And again, it has nothing to do with Christianity. It's got nothing to do with Judaism. That is why, as is further stipulated on this Wikipedia page, the Seal of Solomon was once featured on the flag of Nigeria and the flag of Morocco. Those are not known to be Jewish countries. Freemasons worship Solomon as the master architect. They believe that he gave them the keys to build and therefore control societies. This is how you build a matrix, in effect, right? That is the reason why Alistair.
But King Solomon didn't do that, though. He didn't build a society. He God. King Solomon didn't create Israel, guy. Like, he was the son of David. Like, are we not familiar with King Solomon? He inherited his kingdom. He didn't create it and all those other, like, what? Like, what? He built the temple, but what? Like, this is, are we just not, like, forget the magical stuff. Are we just not understanding history? Like, what?
Crowley, who was a master,
their favorite scapegoat. It's all Crowley. It's all, even though King Solomon existed centuries before Crowley, it all goes back to this guy, which again makes no sense. How can it go back to King Solomon, but it all like but it also goes back to this guy? Like, God.
It did an entire religion around this, put together a series of books, a series of pentacles that are meant to summon various spirits. I want you to hear me.
Crowley didn't put together pentacles to summon various spirits. He utilized sigils and seals, kind of like what I have right here. These are of angels, though. These aren't demons, but I do have ones for demons. But these are for angels, right? These are mine. These are just wooden ones, right? These are sigils and seals. You can see the Hebrew and the sacred names of God from Christianity and Judaism. This is for Venus. Hanael, that's the angel of Venus. This is Camael, Mars, right? Camael, Mars. Raphael, Mercury, or some might put him for the sun, and Michael for Mercury, depending on who you're talking to, right? So yeah, seals, stuff like these, right? Sigils and seals, which have the Seal of Solomon, according to her, on the front there, right? That's what he was using. He wasn't creating anything in terms of that stuff. This... Guys, stop getting your occult information from non-occultists. I can't stress that enough.
When I say that, they are intentionally summoning demons.
Sometimes,
First book he wrote was called The Book of Evil Spirits. Wow, look at that Star of David.
Crowley did not write this. That's another, like, guys, we have to stop getting our information from non-occultists. We have to stop. Aleister Crowley did not write this. Aleister Crowley was the editor. She picked a version of this. This book is real. I have the Keys of Solomon, right? I've got the Key of Solomon the King, and that's the Key of Solomon the King. And then this is the Lesser Key, right? The Goetia, the Lesser Key of Solomon the King, right? Translated by Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, edited with an introduction by Aleister Crowley, right? This is the most common version. This is the version that scholars and everybody... She picked a version that I don't even know, right? Crowley did not write this book. Crowley edited the book. Mathers wrote the book, right? Samuel Liddell Mathers, right? Again, translated and edited from manuscripts in the British Museum by S. Liddell McGregor Mathers. And remember when we were talking about the Masonic books? R.A. Gilbert. These are the people that you should be reading. Forget Crowley. Even, guys, Here's the funny thing about Crowley. Okay, even in the occult, Alice, today, occultists, myself and various other occultists, unless we are Thelemites, which I am not, most occultists don't care about Aleister Crowley. Most occultists don't even like Crowley because he was a drug addict. He plagiarized a lot of the stuff that he supposedly, well, not in these he didn't write, but in his own writings, he plagiarized a lot of stuff, right? So a lot of people don't like Crowley within the occult. You can go to any occult subreddit, go to any occult forum, and unless you're in a Thelema subreddit or a Thelema forum or an OTO forum, Crowley might be mentioned, sure. He's an important figure, but he's not this granddaddy, high holy architect, that everyone worships in the occult. This is ridiculous. Most people don't care about Crowley. And that's in the West. On a global scale, they don't even know about Crowley. I promise you, the voodoo practitioners in Haiti don't know about Crowley. Not because they're dumb and illiterate or anything, but because he doesn't factor into Haitian voodoo. The Kumantong practitioners in Indonesia or Thailand, Indonesia, I think. They don't know about Crowley because he doesn't factor into Indonesian type magic and occultism. Right? Chinese occultists don't care about what Crowley is saying. They don't care about what Crowley wrote because he doesn't factor in Chinese sorcery. This is a ridiculous notion that Aleister Crowley is this progenitor of the occult. He's not. He's an important figure, or he was an important figure, sure. He contributed a lot, sure. We're not going to take that from him, but I will certainly take this pedestal that non-occultists, that you conspiracy theorists put him on. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Aleister Crowley did not write the Key of Solomon. Okay? And not only that, I'm going to take it a little further. I'm going to do what Candace won't do. I'm not just going to hold up books and show you guys books. We're going to go a little deeper. We're going to take a look at David Rankine, scholar. David Rankine is a scholar. And his volume 1 of his Grimoire Encyclopedia. Volume 1. This is I urge everyone to challenge me. This is a scholarly look at the various grimoires from an academic perspective. And let's look for the Key of Solomon. Okay, there's various grimoires in here. The Key of Solomon is a little later, probably like 16th century. So we're probably going to look a little further back. Let's see here. Where's the key? That's the Secrets of Solomon. The Key of Necromancy. Oh, it must be older then. All right, let me just start from the beginning. That's the Testament of Solomon, the Picatrix, the Summa. Here we go. Page 122, the Key of Solomon. Page 122. And we're going to read directly from the text, right? Page 122. Oh my God. Come on. The Key of Solomon, or the Clavicula Solomonis, right? Date 15th century, though there may be earlier manuscripts. I said 16th, so I was 1 century off. Language: Latin, Italian, English, French, German, Dutch, Hebrew. Influences: Psalms, the Sefer HaRahazim, the Hagramantea. Candace has never heard of that. The Elucidation of Necromancy. Candace has never heard of that. The Heptameron, or some people say Heptameron, but I say Heptameron. Candace has never heard of that. And just a quick little paragraph about the text. With so many manuscripts, it is expected that some of them pass through the hands of well-known figures. Manuscript 3674 was owned by the poet Gabriel Harvey, who lived in 1550 to 1630. But Aleister Crowley wrote it? Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? Aleister Crowley wrote it? Aleister Crowley lived in the late 1800s. What the fuck are you talking about? Baron John Summers, who lived in 1651 through 1716, also owned a copy, but Crowley wrote it. Shut the fuck up. And Sir Joseph Jekyll, 1663 to 1738. 1738. But Crowley wrote it. And of course, Ebenezer Sibley, which any real occultist would know that name, especially if you study the grimoires. But for those of you who don't, or people like Candace's audience, you have no idea who that is because you only know Crowley and Levi and Manly P. Hall and Blavatsky, who's not even an occult author, and Alice Bailey, who's not even an occult author, and that's all you guys know. All just the conspiracy, pseudo Freemasonic, and theosophic, which is nonsense, authors. That's all y'all know. You know nothing about legitimate occult authors. But anyway. Owned at least three, Sibley owned at least 3 manuscripts which were sold upon his death to book dealer John Denley, who lived in 1764 to 1842. Now we're getting closer to Crowley's time. Denley employed Frederick Hockley, another popular name if you actually study occultism, especially the grimoires, to make copies of the manuscripts, though how many is unknown. Aubrey manuscript number 24 was owned by the antiquarian John Aubrey, who lived in 1626 to 1697, but Crowley wrote it, right? Pierre Morisseau, professor of Oriental languages at Paris University, is mentioned in at least 7 manuscripts from the Rabbi Solomon family. Manuscripts mentioning him were owned by Papoose, who, not the rapper Papoose, but Papoose as in the author Papoose, who wrote my favorite book on tarot, Tarot of the Bohemians. Probably the greatest book I believe on tarot. And Francis Irwin. Mention must be made of Antoine René de Voyer d'Argenchon, who lived 1722 to 1787, who collected a number of manuscripts in his huge library of over 1,000 volumes, blah, blah, blah. Crowley did not write the Key of Solomon. Okay? It is a 15th century text. Again, we read that out of the Grimoire Encyclopedia by the scholar David Rankine. Okay? So, what are you talking about, Candace? She's not going to do that. She'll do this. She'll show you a screenshot. She won't even open the book. Like, even when I'm showing you, like, this stuff here, at least I'm not just, oh, look, guys, I'm actually clicking on it and showing you guys the text. And don't worry, all the books that I have PDF copies of, I also have physical copies of. These aren't pirated, right? Which I can prove in just a moment. This is Contra Codex Volume 1. So this is legal. This is legal. You can legally own PDF copies of books that you have. So I don't want anyone saying, "Oh, that's one way I'll get this video taken down. This guy is promoting piracy." Nope. We've got the physical copies. But the point is, at least I'm showing you that I own the book and have the ability to actually read and disseminate the text. She's not read this book. Stop getting your occult information from non-occultists.
All over it. What do you mean this is not associated with Judaism? It's associated with Baal worship. I cannot stress this enough. That
What? Where? What? Oh my God. How? Please. How? This is crazy. This is crazy.
That is what those in power practice. It is what they believe. It is ancient. It is occult, and it is magic. I believe that the manner.
So yes, that book you just showed is occult and it is magic, but it's not evil. You do realize that book that you just showed calls on God and Jesus to help the magician control demons, not to summon them to curse. I mean, I guess you could do that, but it's to have control over them. And you're using God. Did you open the book or no? Because we can do it right now. Again, this is my version of the Lesser Key of Solomon. The same thing she just showed. The Lesser Key of Solomon the King. Okay? I'm going to show you. We're going to go to where it... Oh, actually... Well, no, we don't... Here we go. Before I even show you, this is the hexagram of Solomon. Right? The little symbol that she keeps talking about. Let's read what it's about. I'm going to So that way you guys can see if I'm bullshitting or not. So pause it right there. Pause this video and read along with me. So that way you can't say, he's not really reading, he's reading something else. I held it up on the screen. Pause it. Read it with me. This is the form of the hexagram of Solomon, the figure whereof is to be made on parchment of a calf's skin, and worn at the skirt of thy vestment, and covered with a cloth of fine linen and pure, to which is to be shown unto the spirits when they do appear, so that they be compelled to take human form or human shape upon them and be obedient. The colors, so I mean, I don't know if that's important. We're really just focused on why, like what it's for, not the colors. That's what the second paragraph is. If you paused it and you're reading along, you would know. It's just telling you what it needs to look like. I don't think that's very important. What's important is the purpose. She's making some. This is so evil. They're sacrificing it. It doesn't say it's for. It says, which is to be shown unto the spirits when they do appear, so that they be compelled to take human shape upon them and be obedient. Not sacrificing children in the center of. Like she said at the beginning of the video. Come on, guys. We gotta be smarter. We gotta be smarter. But anyway, I wanted to show you the conjurations. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So, we're at the end of this page here. Just so I'm not lying. We're going to flip the page and we're going to go to the magical requisites and the conjurations, right? What does the magical requisites say? Right? What does that say? The adoration at bath. Thou shalt purge me with hyssop, O Lord, and I shall be clean. Thou shalt wash me. Isn't that from the Bible? Wait a minute. I thought this was all demonic and evil. This isn't, it doesn't say mock it. Please read the paragraph above it. It doesn't say do this in a mocking manner and and F the Christian God and down with him and praise the devil and we're just doing this in a mocking way. Hee-ha. Because that's what Christians love to say about the occult. It's a mockery. You're mocking God. There's no, this is very serious. There's no mocking here. Right? And then, by the figurative mystery of these holy vestures, or of this holy vestment, I will clothe me with the armor of salvation in the strength of the Most High. Look up those names. Those names aren't names of demons. Look up what those names mean. Look up what those names mean. Ancor, Amacor, Amides, Theodonias, Anator. That my desired end may be effected through thy strength. O Adonai. That's not a demon. Those are sacred names of God. The Christian, or I should say the Judeo-Christian God. Right? Let's look at the conjurations. Over on this side. Let's look at the conjurations. I do invocate and conjure thee, O Spirit N, and being with the power armed by the Supreme Majesty. I wonder who that Supreme Majesty is. Because it says it again in, where's my fingers? Right here. It says it again right here. Supreme Majesty again. But let's look down here. Adonai, El, Elohim, Elohi, Eheya, Asher, Eheya, Zabaoth, Elion, Ea, Tetragrammaton, Shaddai, Lord God Most High. You're not summoning demons through the power of demons. Remember, isn't that what the Sanhedrin was saying about Jesus? He cast out devils with the help of devils. That's not what's happening. You're using the power of the Judeo-Christian God to subjugate demons. Not to dance with them in some revelry and laugh and kill babies. This is what Candace doesn't want you to do. She doesn't want you to actually get the book and read it. Or she doesn't want you to get a PDF and read it. She just wants to show you a screenshot so you assume that she's read it. And then she goes, see guys, this is evil. Star of David's on the cover. Not on mine, but Star of David's on the cover. It's evil. What the fuck are you talking about?
Of Charlie's death. Charlie's death was also intended to cast a spell. That's the only thing I come up. I kept asking the question, what?
How does you? It's clear that Candace does not know the mechanics of spellcasting. How can someone's death, the act of them dying, be the casting of a spell? You need to explain that. That's not how spellcasting is done. That is not how spellcasting is done. Let's have a witch. I got this book when I was about 17, 18 years old. Love this book. This is more of a reference manual than anything else. Grimoire for the Green Witch. Look what's on the cover there. And now it's not the Star of David, but it's definitely a pentagram. A Complete Book of Shadows by Anne Mora. Let's go to... Here we go. Where is... Okay, here we go. Spells. I'm going to put it on the screen again, so that way you guys can pause and read along with me. Spells. Pause it, so you can read along with me, so you know I'm not bullshitting. Spells. Magic gathered and directed in ritual to achieve a goal. Thus, spells are the vehicles of magical workings, utilizing the movement of energy through the power of spoken word or formula, be it in a ritual, a brew, like a potion, a charm, an amulet, a talisman, or crafted item created for a magical purpose, generating intent into manifestation. How does a death accomplish any of that? You gotta explain, please. You gotta explain. Let a witch tell you what a spell is, not Candace Owens. Just like Candace Owens wouldn't want me, who is a non-Christian, even though I'm well-versed in theology. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to debate with like the greatest, minds out there or anything. But on an amateur level, I can hold my own. But she wouldn't want you coming to me for advice or knowledge on Christianity. So why would you be going to her for anything about the occult? Oh, if you're part of my book club, I've been doing research. You've not. You've not put any. The only thing you put up on the screen is an image of the opening page of your Masonic Bible, which shows writing around the pentagram, which the writing looks very recent. It's not faded or anything, so it's not old. It looks very recent. And then you showed a screenshot of the Key of Solomon. You made a claim about something in the Masonic Bible. You said it says this about sacrifice in the middle of a pentagram. You couldn't have shown that. You can show the opening page, but you can't show that page. Why not? Because it's not there. That's why. You can't do what I just did. Pull out the books and show. This is what witches are really saying. In their own writings. To their own people. FUBU, for us, by us. For witches, by witches. That's where we would be saying all the most heinous, diabolical stuff, right? Yet, from what you just saw, it's not.
Why did they broadcast this? Making us watch Charlie die was diabolical.
Yeah, and they didn't broadcast anything. Like, the Illuminati didn't. Now, maybe whomever in his camp that may have had knowledge of it, okay. But the Illuminati and them, the powers that be and all this other, they didn't do anything. They've got bigger things. They've got a world to run, okay? Assuming they exist, they've got a whole world to run. They're not worried about Charlie Kirk. They're not worried about Charlie Kirk. They took out Charlie Kirk, but David Icke is still walking around. Not that I don't wish anything to happen to anybody. Anybody that I disagree with or anything, I don't wish any harm to come to them. We can disagree. We can call each other names, scream and holler, blah, blah, blah. But I am not into wishing harm on anybody or anything. But I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense that they would take out Charlie Kirk, but leave someone like David Icke, who's been exposing them for like 30 years. That doesn't make any sense. Stop. They let Candace say it. You're allowed to say it. Nothing happens to you. Stop.
This priest that I'm about to show you is discussing Satanism more broadly. He's not saying this, to be clear, in the context of Charlie Kirk. I want you to take a listen to what he says. This is Father Ripperger. He is going to describe.
So another non-occultist. Guys, start doing what they're doing. Go to anyone else who is not a Christian. I want to start seeing videos of people asking Hindus and Buddhists and Shintos and Jainists and you know, I don't know, various African, you know, traditional religions. I want to see people going to these groups and asking them about Christianity, right? Getting in, you know, tell me about, you know, Joseph's coat of many colors, and, you know, tell me, you know, about, you know, this parable and that parable and what this means. And Christians would get very upset. They'd be like, what? That doesn't make, why are you doing it? That makes no sense. Come to us. This is our thing. Why aren't you coming to us? But I guess that logic doesn't translate over to them. Like it's crazy.
The nature of this sort of constant symbolism that's being used, this obsession with them almost having to reveal to us what they're doing, like wanting to get close to revealing to us what they're doing, and then gaslighting us. Take a listen.
Actually, the technical term that we tend to use for that is called the revealing of the method. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have.
Basically, it's
Oh my God, they're bringing that back. The revelation of the method. That's been disproven a million times. That has been disproven a million times. There is no revelation of the method, right? Blavatsky or whoever else was supposed to have said this. The book that they're supposed to have said it in, if you go and you look it up, it's not mentioned at all. And I did this live like 3 years ago. It's on my YouTube. I did a live where we did that. We bought up the book, Control F, so for find, and we tested out a couple words to make sure that the find works. And then we looked up revelation and we looked up method. And there was no connection to those words like revelation of the method or revealing the method, or there was nothing like that mentioned. I can't but these guys know that you're not going to do the research. They think you're stupid. That's why they don't do what I just do for you guys. They know that you're not going to look it up. You're just going to listen to them. Well, a priest said it. Why would the priest lie? Because he's on that other guy's channel. That other guy, I don't know his name, but he does a lot of these types of videos. He has a somewhat big channel. That's why. We live in the clout chasing realm. Like, come on.
it basically means that it can be connected to a curse. They could curse this so that it has a more so that its distribution becomes more extensive and more people watch the thing. But a lot of times, what that is that they.
And the reason why that can't work is because they're forgetting something. And you know what? The main 4 tenets of witchcraft, often referred to as the witch's pyramid or the 4 powers of the magus. This is why it wouldn't work. And this is why you don't get your information from non-occultists. They are to know, knowledge, to dare, courage, to will, intention or focus, and to keep silent, discretion. We're not sharing our spells and our rituals with you while they're going on. More people seeing it doesn't give it better odds. That's not how it works. The only thing that can work that way are sigils. But you wouldn't know that. No one, Candace doesn't know that, and no one in her audience knows that because you guys don't actually study legitimate magic. You study conspiracy theory. Sigils may increase in power the more people see them, but rituals and spells themselves do not. It's actually worse off the more people who see it. So this doesn't make sense. This does not make sense. And we're almost done, guys. Maybe this isn't going to be a 2-hour video. We're already an hour and 28 minutes in. But there's only, 3-4 minutes left. And then I think she moves on to like political stuff. Damn, I turned a 18-minute clip essentially into an hour and a half, maybe hour and 45-minute reaction. Oh my God. But I got a lot of shit to say. And this is how it has to be done, or else they get away with shit like this.
the thing about Satanists, and also even though it's occult and the fact that it's hidden,
It's not hidden.
there's a side to diabolic psychology that even when they remain hidden, they still want to show themselves in some way. They're still going to
Even if
reveal
that is true,
themselves
that has nothing to
in
do with the
something.
occult,
They
because the
can't
occult says to
help it.
not
And it's
show
the
it.
same thing you
So, like,
see.
you guys have
It's
no
the
idea
same
what
thing
you're
you
talking
see
about.
with Satanists. It's the same thing you see with Freemasons when they're involved in certain things. It's the same stuff you see across the board in these particular groups. And so they just tend to reveal stuff. But their hope is to, even in the revealing, that you don't know. There's a sadistic delight they get out of
You
basically
prove that.
putting it
Where
to
does
you
it say
without you even
in
knowing
any
it.
of the? I've shown you guys numerous
Yes,
occult books, numerous
that is
Freemasonic
accurate.
books. We've
It is
opened them. I've
diabolical,
shown,
and they
pause so we
are
can read
clearly
together.
sadistic in what
Can
they
you
are
do that,
doing.
Candace?
And
Can you do that? You can't. Where does it say any of that in any of these books or in any book? This is, well, any legitimate occult, not any book, because there's going to be conspiracy books that say it. Any legitimate occult book. It's not there.
and of course, there is an element of it they enjoy to gaslight you right after they do these sorts of things. That piece, by the way, about the symbolism, sort of overt and in your face, is also made clear in the very early pages of this quote unquote Freemason Bible. That symbolism is actually crucial. In fact, it's a science to them.
Well, okay, that is true. Symbolism is there is language and science behind it all. That is very true. But why can't you just show that? Show it. Why like this should be proof that she's expecting you, the viewer, to just believe her. I didn't just say the 4 tenets of witchcraft are this, and this. I didn't just say that. I showed it to you. Well, on the screen. I didn't just say spells or this. I said let a witch tell you. And I showed you this book written by a witch, Anne Mora, Grimoire for the Green Witch. Sorry, I'm getting all these phones. This is crazy. And it's only when I'm live or when I'm recording, everyone wants to talk to me and hang out. If I'm just hanging out, if I'm playing video games, if I'm running errands, whatever, nobody hits me. The minute I press record or go live, beep, 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 ring, ring, bzz, bzz, it's crazy. But anyway, I showed you. Simple. I didn't just make the claim. I backed it up.
You're not imagining things. Right
Yes, you
here
are.
at the top, it states this. Again, from this quote unquote Freemason Bible.
Perfect. Why can't you do this with the other thing about the sacrifice in the center of the pentagram? This is perfect. This is what you should be doing. I commend this.
It reads, it has been correctly stated that symbolism constitutes the very essence of Freemasonry. Freemasonry
sure, that's
is
I mean, now I'm not a Freemason, so I mean, I'm not going to pretend to talk for Freemasons, but that was never in contention. I hate to keep, showing off my book collection, but when going with the Freemason books, where is it? Right here. There's the book right here, Symbolism of Freemasonry. Symbolism of Freemasonry, or Mystic Masonry, and the greater mysteries of antiquity. I wouldn't be showing you guys this if I was afraid that there was something in here that could, that proves everything wrong. I mean, that proves everything that Candace is saying right. Oh, this is the second edition. This is a book about Freemasonic symbolism. Symbolism is definitely important. What makes it evil, though? What makes these people evil? What makes anything that they're doing evil, demonic, whatever? That you don't like it? So what? It's not evil. It's not demonic. You just don't like it. Shut up.
essentially the science of symbolism. Further down, it offers us a section entitled The Science of Symbolism Explained. It reads, a symbol or an emblem is an occult representation of something unknown or concealed by a sign or a thing that is known.
Yeah, sure.
So something you recognize kind of carrying deeper meaning.
Sure.
And it gives us some examples, incredibly.
No different than the cross. The cross is a symbol. But it just means that that's the place that Jesus was hung. That's it. Doesn't have any other meaning. Or are there other meanings? Are there deeper meanings? Is there a deeper mystery there?
You wouldn't believe me if I didn't show it to you. It gives the example of a square. A square is in Freemasonry an emblem or a symbol of morality. A plumb line, the symbol of rectitude, and the beehive as a symbol of industry. Yes, they do
So evil. Wow, what a demon. How demonic.
communicate to one another using symbols, as I have maintained from the very beginning, by the way.
Sure, what makes it evil? What makes any of that evil? What makes any of that demonic and witchcraft and sorcery and all this other stuff?
Kash Patel continually stressing 33 hours was not random. It did not feel subtle. It seemed to me and to many others that was some sort of signaling. 33, 33, everyone was just saying 33 all the time. So
then why don't you look up in numerology, right? Sacred numbers and all that, what does 33 mean? Why don't you look that up?
routinely gaslit public, I would like to validate your every instinct, most especially about the subsequent behavior of Turning Point USA as an organization, behavior that looked to us as though it was.
I think we're taking a switch. All right, so I think she's done talking, because as you can see in the timestamp, for those of you who didn't skip around or whatever, you remember we looked at the timestamps. It's only from 1 minute and 16 seconds to 18 minutes and 22 seconds that she talks about the occult. Tucker Carlson tweets about spells and the internet loses its mind. And then at 1822, we're at 1835 right now. She talks about TP USA raises Erica's profile to be potential U.S. president, and Trump has betrayed America, and then comments. So I don't think the rest of this goes into occult stuff, because it doesn't mention anything. I mean, this one mentions spells and occult stuff, but this section doesn't, and that section doesn't, and that so. Going to assume she doesn't, and we're already at an hour and 36 minutes. I don't think you guys want me to. I mean, if I have to, we're only 18 minutes in, and we're at an hour and 36 minutes. This is going to be a 4-hour video if I don't cut it here. But let's give it like another minute or so, see if she still talks about any occult stuff.
Was diabolical. There was apparently, sadly for them, not enough empiricism, rationality, or spell casting in the universe to override our sense that something was and is deeply wrong. Deeply. Okay? Deeply wrong. What did they give us? The horrific murder of a man followed by the joyful coronation of his wife, who is now inviting his enemies onto the very...
All right. I will say that was crazy to see, I mean, everybody grieves differently. But it was a little crazy to see, she comes out WWE style, in a stadium full of people, fire behind her and rockets and shit. I was like, what? Sorry. It's not funny. It's terrible. R.I.P. to Charlie. That shouldn't have happened. Whether you agree with his politics or not, that shouldn't have happened. But his wife coming out on stage like that was a little crazy.
Ship that he built? Spiritual ick is what we felt. Okay? Words have meaning. They sent out their broadcasters, effectively, to cast something more broadly to the public. What they cast was, she's a grieving widow. That's what Charlie would have wanted 6 feet.
There's that false etymology. They casted it broadly, right? Even though, yes, that's what you're casting something out broadly. That's not how etymology works. But I guess in that case, she is correct. But they try that with other words, right? They try that with I've seen it with demonstration. They'll go demonstration. I'm like, what? What? So or emotion is energy in motion. Emotion. I'm like, oh my god, stop it, please stop. But okay, it doesn't sound like she's going to continue talking about any occult stuff. Sounds like she's phasing that out, and moving into the political side now. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and stop here. This is absolutely insane. She knows nothing about what she's talking about. That should be clear. This should be a good wake up call for people who are getting their information about the occult from non occult sources. This should show you, me not just saying this is what witchcraft is, or this is what a spell is, or this is what, but me actually showing you. Me actually showing you. The only thing she showed you was about the symbolism stuff. Stuff that's not in denial. But the stuff that we deny, she can't show that to you. She'll just show you a screenshot of the Key of Solomon. Well, how about you get the Key of Solomon? Or you don't want any of those, I've got versions of the Key of Solomon too. Other versions. You saw it pop up. What else? Hold on, let me just type in not that, because that's going to bring up. There we go. Okay. So we've got this version here, the Key to Solomon's Key over here by Lon Milo Duquette, who was the, I don't know if he's currently, like, as of this moment, the current leader, but he was the most recent leader, if there is a current leader prior to that leader, of Thelema, the religion that Aleister Crowley founded, right? We've got this version of the Goetia here, over here. And then I think I have one more, but I don't know why. I know I have, like, just the Lemageddon. There we go. And then I have this version, since you can't really see it from the cover page. And here we go again, compiled and translated by McGregor Mathers, but edited and additional material by Crowley. Crowley didn't write it; he edited it. He was like, oh, let's put this up front here in the front, and then let's make the typeface or the font like this, and that's what Crowley did. And I'm not saying that that's not important or anything like that, but that's not writing the book. So don't get your occult information from non-occultist people. Okay? Please. I hope you guys can see how this is ridiculous, how Candace is going off the deep end. She's clearly grifting, right? Just going after whatever is popular right now. Where was this content 5 years ago? Where was this, or whenever you first left the Daily Beast and started doing your own thing? Where was this content? Why are you waiting till now? Get your information from people who actually either really study and can demonstrate that they've studied, or actually practice the thing, especially when it comes to religion and spirituality, because this will be your result. Seek the mysteries.